Create, awakening the artist inside you. Hello everyone, welcome to Create with Franz. Creating your new life. We are now in the year 2021 and I hope you had a good end of the year celebration, even if we were not allowed to have parties, at least here in the UK. But maybe just a time for reflecting. And this is episode 27, and because we are in the beginning of the year, I've decided to talk about your life purpose. Why is that? It's because a lot of people have been wondering after their businesses have crashed, or maybe after losing a loved one, or maybe after feeling very depressed about what they can't do or what they are doing. Lots of people are wondering, what is the purpose of all this? What's the purpose of my own life? So they are wanting to change direction. So if this is you today, listen up and keep being tuned in, and as we are going to talk about our life purpose. So first of all, let's identify what the life purpose is. Is something that you really feel is aligned with your priorities, with your values, with your passions, and with your skills. Something that makes you feel like, yes, I'm supposed to do this. It feels good. I'm in the flow when I do this. So it could be art, of course. This is a podcast that is very much dedicated to art. But also it could be a life purpose of healing other people or anything else. So basically, I'm not concerned about your life purpose being outside of any scope of art. Just keep listening, because that's not the case. We're not going to talk just about art, but just a very broad concept of what am I here for? What is this for? Why? Because this pandemic, which looks like it's going to ruin the coming year as well, in some way or another, and I'm not going to go into politics, but it looks like it's going to ruin this year as well. So there are people that are thinking, well, okay, I've lost so much. How can I find some peace, some balance? And one of the very big ways of finding this peace and balance is to know that we're here for a higher purpose. And perhaps we haven't found that. And if you have found your higher purpose, then you have to follow it. But if you're not sure yet, let's discover what this could be. And you will know when you find your life purpose, in my opinion, because everything will just fall into place within yourself. Even if you're not making maybe a lot of money from it, or maybe some people are rejecting that, but people know when they're doing what they are wired to do. It's just something instinctive. So I have 5 questions to ask you, and hopefully they will take you to think about your life purpose from a different perspective if you haven't yet discussed this with yourself. The first one is, have you found out what drives you, what motivates you, what gives you a lot of happiness? What is it? So this is a way of finding out what is your purpose. So there will be things that maybe you think you cannot live with, things that are very much part of you. It could be sport, it could be art, it could be drama, it could be going out with your friends. What is it you really enjoy doing, and that you keep doing that all the time because you love talking about it, you love doing it? What is that drives you? And sometimes a powerful purpose can come from a very, very powerful pain. For example, I remember years ago losing both my parents from cancer, just a few years from one another. My mom was only 53, and I kept asking myself questions and saying, why did she have to die so young, and what was going on in her life? What could have been different? And this started a really big interest in healthcare, in the medical world. I mean, it was already there, it was kind of latent, but it became really big because I started to wonder, is there something like a cure for cancer? Is there a way that people can live healthily? And because of that, I got qualified then as a family herbalist and then as a nutritionist. And I keep having a really deep interest in anything herbal, anything natural that can accompany the traditional therapies but also as a standalone many times. And then I started to delve into the mental health, into the wellness. So it was a period of pain that was followed by a period of reflection and then a period of action. And because of that, I think I found quite a lot of purpose in my life. So now I eat differently, I exercise every day, and I do things to make sure that my soul, my body are nourished every day. And I know that I'm not going to die very soon as far as I'm concerned, because I'm not meaning if God wants me to die, I will die. There is an accident, I will die. But I'm not hopefully going to be the cause of my death, right? I'm trying to live in the best way I can according to my own knowledge. So hopefully I will not feel very guilty about what I have done to my body. And this process was starting with pain, with loss, with what you have when a person dies in your family that you love very much and you miss. Now this year, in the 2020, a lot of us have experienced this pain, maybe because somebody died, maybe not with the virus, but with something else. And this pain can be something that will trigger you to take a change in your life, to take a look at how you've been living, what was your priority before, and what your priorities are today. So it's a good time for reflection. January, because we are still in the middle of winter and some of us don't even have jobs. And so it's a time to think, what is that I really want to feel every day? How do I want to feel? What do I want to have in my life? Ask these questions all the time to yourself. And that is the number one thing that I think is going to help us a lot to find out what's our life purpose. So the second question is very much connected, but what is that makes you feel energized? Because although we have so many things that we all like doing or feeling or eating, but what is that gives you energy? And that I think is something very, very important. For example, thinking that you are moving abroad soon, that can give you a very interesting kink. You feel like, yes, I'm going to do this. Or maybe you're getting married soon. Or maybe you're having a baby, or maybe you're changing a job, or maybe you're starting university or a course to change direction in your career. What is energizing you? Is it just new things, or maybe helping others, or organizing? So every day when you feel like I have a burst of energy today, what is going on? What is causing this burst of energy? And so this could be another little hint. Of course, we all can have a pain or an injustice and an unhappiness that has caused us to turn into a cause and want to help, for example, the homeless people or the addicted people, and that's fine. But there is a third thing, and it's what is that you are willing to make sacrifices for. Because even if you love a cause, even if you have a passion, the skills, the money, sometimes things become really, really tough. And if you're not willing to sacrifice for something, maybe that is not your life purpose. Maybe it's not really what gives you energy. Maybe it's not what you're wired for. Or maybe your mindset isn't there yet, but it can get there. So think about priorities. People always spend time doing what they like the most if they can possibly help it. And they will sacrifice. They will drive hours and hours to go to see their favorite team playing the game. But maybe they will not drive hours and hours to go for shoe shoppings because they don't care. And the other way around, there will be people that go miles and miles for a concert, while others just buy an MP3 file. They're quite content with that. So we all have different priorities and ways of wasting or spending our time, our precious time, and our money. And so what are we willing to sacrifice for? That's very important. And of course, the answer to this question is just something that you want to decide. Maybe you want to take notes of it, because it will clarify to yourself what you want to sacrifice for. Let's go now to step 4. And this is a big question. And the question is, who is it you want to help? Because all the jobs we do, everything we do, has a little bit of a ripple effect, doesn't it? It will somehow affect the life of other people, because we're not living as hermits on a beach or on top of a mountain. We are interacting with other people, whether online or directly. So who are the people that you are helping in this moment? And is this what you want to do? And it could be that the people that you really want to help are a very special, specific segment of the population. And if you have a very specific segment, it could be that this could be a very good niche if you are starting a job, a career. For example, you might say, oh, I really like information technology. I like website and I like designing. So maybe you want to become a designer, but who do you want to help? So perhaps you could be a designer for, business moms that are very, very busy and they have a family. Maybe they are home educating their kids, or they have very busy, hectic lifestyles, and they just want a quick website that doesn't cost too much and is good. And maybe you want to focus just on them. Or maybe you're working for CEOs that want a very brilliant, really deep type. And it's a very difficult thing to understand which one you want. But once you know who do you want to help, who do you feel a kinship with, who do you resonate with, maybe somebody disabled, or maybe somebody who is in a different ethnicity, somebody that has something that triggers you in the good, that you want to help this particular group. That could be very helpful to just channel your activities to better resemble what your life purpose is. This is not to say you shouldn't help anyone else, but just saying if you want to clarify things, you have to go a little bit deeper and narrower and focus on something instead of going very wide. Because as I told you before, in marketing, if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. So your life purpose has to do with very, very specific outcomes in the end. So this has to start with very specific ways of thinking. I think that once you have found out who you want to help and who are you willing to work for even late in the night occasionally, because it doesn't matter to you, because you love doing it, maybe the next thing you could ask yourself is how you are going to help these people with your job or with your volunteer activity or whatever. So how do you want to help? For example, you could be a pattern designer. You love drawing, particularly flowers, and maybe you're very good at watercolors. So your very big thing is to do watercolor flowers for who and how are you going to do that? And so you could think, okay, I want to work for very specific companies. They want to create textiles for the house, and their market is predominantly in California, right? Let's just say one place. And so what kind of people are going to be there? How are you going to help these people? What is their client like? So you're going to go down to this and go really deep and say, okay, how can I help these people? You have to see what the problems are, etc. And once you find out all these angles, then you feel more and more if it's still energizing you, if you're still willing to sacrifice for this, and if your specific client or cause is still very near to your heart. So you have to give it a little bit of a try, don't you? Because then you feel if it's right, because you will feel that, yeah, this doesn't feel like work. I just love it. So another aspect that you can look at to define what your life purpose is to figure out how you can use your existing passions, your existing skills to achieve a very specific goal and to solve a very unique problem. And maybe your specific passion has not emerged because the job you're doing is merely paying the bills. And so maybe it is worth looking at making a little bit of work as a volunteer and finding out if maybe there is something there that tickles you more, that triggers you to do something good, that gives you the energy, the will to sacrifice, etc., etc. For example, I know of a woman that was helping with a volunteer organization that was bringing meals to the poor people and to the homeless people. And she loved helping, And then she developed quite a passion for preparing these meals. And eventually she became a really good cook, and she went on to qualify as a chef because she realized, well, that's really what I really love doing. And then she kept helping the homeless people, but now she even had very, very professional skills. So what is your skill? I'm sure that some of you will say, well, I can't even remember what I like doing because I've been just sucked, by all these years of work, or maybe staying home, raising the kids, looking after somebody who is not well, who might be disabled or very frail and elderly or vulnerable, whatever that is. And maybe a lot of time of your life has gone to do things for others already. So you've accomplished quite a lot, but you still feel there is something missing because you can't remember what you like. And so I would like you to step back for a minute and look at your photographs of when you were younger. Ask people who grew up with you, maybe your own parents, if you're still alive, your friends, look at your journals, and ask yourself, what is it you used to do when you were very young? Were you into sports, into drawing? Were you a little actor or actress? Did you like jumping or running or animals? And many, many times we see that the very things that we liked when we were tiny and that we were quite good at are still the things that we like many years later. And your passion can be rekindled if you try again those activities. And yes, this also includes playing Lego. Just as a side note, a few months ago I was in the Lego website and I was looking at all these people playing for the Lego company and making and designing beautiful structures. How beautiful to have such a purpose to create something fantastic that many children, teenagers and adults alike like playing with. And of course, the Lego structure then can be used later as an adult because you can create very big Lego blocks. So with that, you can create structures as well, which, I don't know where you can buy them, but I saw them. So even something small that you have done as a child can become something really beautiful and enriching and fulfilling when you are older. And that's what I want. I want you to think about, well, it's a new year. I want to redesign my life. Maybe your high-paying job is amazing, is respectable, but you are so stressed. There's so much competition. Your boss is just always on your back and breathing on your neck. And you're like, I don't want this. I want something different. And so keep asking yourself, what is that I used to love when I was younger? In case you can't remember anything that you used to do when you were a child, maybe it's time to ask your friends. Chances are that your friends will have a really good idea of what you're good at. And maybe you didn't know because you never asked. And maybe they're not people that go around praising. But if you really ask, they might say, actually, you're a really good listener. And you're like, how can I use that? Well, have you thought about becoming a counselor or maybe work for the Samaritans? It's something there. There is also another aspect. What is that you will talk about the whole time and you will never be bored about? It could be learning, it could be reading, Where are you spending your time? Where are you spending your money when you can, when you're not working? This could be your passion, your purpose. So keep looking, and maybe do a course or two. Try Udemy or Skillshare. There is Craftsy. There are so many courses. You can learn all sorts of things from basketry to crochet to martial arts. Nowadays, there is no way you cannot learn something going online because everything has moved online, sadly. Because, I actually personally cannot wait until we can start again meeting other people properly because we are human beings and we're not supposed to look at people through screens and not actually touch and hold babies. And this is really very unnatural. So I'm not hoping by any means that we will forever be always online. So all I'm saying is it's a good time to find out what your skills are and trying to use them. And as you try to put together this through courses, asking people, looking at your past activities and what really energized you and made you sacrifice for, you will be able to focus a little bit more on something productive, maybe pleasant, hopefully very pleasant, that you can do to bring more purpose. And you know that when you have purpose, it's a lot more difficult to fall into depression, to be miserable, to feel down all the time. And so you have a reason to get out of bed every day, a reason to go out maybe in the bad weather, as we do have very often in the UK. And so just remember that there is something that you are here for. We are all wired to do something really well. And there is no such thing as, oh, I don't have any purpose. I mean, there is. But if you're still confused and you feel like every time you try, something is holding back, that's the time to reach back to me. Because, of course, that's what I do. My very niche is to find your life purpose, awakening the artist inside you, and awakening the passion, the reason why you're here, so that you can get it out and give it to the world. So just make sure you get in touch if you want. Remember, my website is on franzsidney.com. So facebook.com/Franz Sidney Therapy. And of course, you know where the podcast is, and make sure that you click share. I also actually have a YouTube channel, but I can't remember the name because it's one of his unreadable names. I have a few hypnosis meditations there recorded, so there we go. There is everything here to help you to move on, to feel balanced, to feel some kind of wellness in these very difficult times, and hopefully to overcome any blocks that you might have in this moment, from anxiety to self-sabotage to maybe just feeling not confident about anything. So I'm here to help. Remember, you get a free discovery call lasting up to 30 minutes with me, so just set up your appointment. And of course, remember, should anything else be of interest, just ask a question and I will very, very happily answer. Click and share this episode with anyone, and thank you for being with me today. I hope you will have a great beginning of a new year, and of course, if you haven't listened before to this, Happy New Year to you. Bye-bye. You have listened to Create, Awakening the Artist Inside You, Finding Your Purpose, and more.